what happens with abundance and what happens when you have the ability like you to maybe homeschool your kids, if you want to talk a little about homeschooling your kids and maybe some mindset that you have about choosing places to maybe raise your kids, places to, if you want to relocate, or places to maybe the schooling system, just stuff, a little bit of stuff like that, and we could go from there.
Absolutely. So when you're building this business, you know what's the beauty of it? Your kids see, right? Your kids see how you live. They see what you're all about. They start seeing your values. And when we get on these calls, because most of our calls are done on Zoom, they start learning these skills. So this actually becomes, so I homeschool my kids for years, almost 4 years. And they would listen to the calls and they're like, well, this is great information. Are they doing math skills? They're doing science skills. They're doing all kinds of skills. They start learning, debating, speech. I mean, it really helps you on so many levels. So my kids are part of the business, and they hear and they learn and they grow. And it's amazing of how just having your kids part of the business with you, it really starts shaping them, and it starts transforming the way that I think of school. So I did all traditional schools, right? But now in the new paradigm, it's not what I look at all. I look at it, I'm like, university, what do you need university for? You already have the skills. I've set you up with the skills. You've been living this for so many years. You already know what to do. Everyone's trying to go to an online business, and we have the skills for you. And you just have to be 18 years old to get started. So, but you can start training your kids and showing them the possibilities. Both my kids are entrepreneurial. They already have the mindset ready to go. My son, who is 10, has a huge AI business. He's called that AI genius. He's being asked to say speeches at AI conferences. I mean, where do you think he got these skills from? Listening to me, going on our calls, acquiring these skills. They're not built overnight, but the more we do it, the more we practice, we are showing everyone. Your kids don't do as you say, they do as you do. So the more you show up and try to better yourself, they are doing that to themselves as well. When I started off in this, I didn't know how to speak. I didn't know how to go online. I couldn't even imagine doing that. But with practice, with time, you start getting better and better. And you know what? It becomes second nature. You don't even know who you were before. And this is the whole point of growth and transformation. So we're talking about homeschooling. Maybe it's for you, maybe it's not. But I mean, it's the greatest way that you can give a solid foundation to your kids. Where do you want to live? The world is your oyster. You can live anywhere. You can pick somewhere. If it's an earth school, there are different types of schooling. But once your kids have a solid base of who they are and what's their passion, right? Because this is where we're trying to get our kids to be focused on what you want to do. Now you're giving them the skills to go out there and create however feels true to you. So that's what I'm doing with my kids. My kids are in school now, but they have a solid foundation. They know what to do. They know their values. They know who we are. So it doesn't matter what life throws at them. They're solid, right? And they have these skills. A lot of people are like, well, the skills that they have, where was it acquired? Was it acquired at this school or this school? No, it was me. It was me. I'm the one who is showing them how to build everything and how we live, right? Because when you're building, you're living it. This becomes part of your daily activity. So they start seeing this and they want to create it and they want to build their own life. So, I don't stress any school. Now, my daughter is in grade 11, so she's starting to look at university. Well, the whole school's doing this whole university tour. She's not interested because she has a different mindset of where the world is going to, and she will not be boxed because we teach our kids how to be expansive and they don't need to be limited. So if you want to travel, you want your kids to go to Europe, you want them to go anywhere. You want to go to Bali, you want to learn other ways. You can because you have the skills, right? And the online business, you can build anywhere.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people go to school, right? Let's say they didn't learn all these things that you learned, right? And they just learned what most people learn. They might go into school without like a passion or a purpose, right? Because most people don't even have, their parents might not even have a passion or purpose, right? So like, how are the kids gonna know what their passion or purpose is, right? So oftentimes you go in and you think they're gonna learn that there. They're gonna find their passion and purpose there, right? And some do, many do, right? And that's kind of the path, right? It's like maybe they'll be interested in math and they'll, get into there. Maybe they'll be interested in science and they'll get into there. Maybe they'll like English and they'll get into there. Maybe they'll like Spanish or whatever, right? Then they go to university, and some and I know I was the same way when I went to college. I started at a community college first, because there was a few reasons, right? One, it was like the cost made sense, right? In the in-state. So you're like, okay, there's there. But then the other thing that a lot of people face, which what I was facing, is I didn't know what I wanted to do. I had made it all the way through high school into college and just sitting there thinking, I don't even know what I want to do. I guess I'll take the general ed because that's what they're telling me. You got to take that, right? So going there, still not even really thinking what I want to do, right? And not really having a clear direction. So if you have your situation or anyone with a situation where the passion is clear and the purpose is clear and the direction is clear, right? Even though you don't know the outcome, right? Your kids don't know the outcome.
Oh.
No one knows the outcome, but the purpose and passion is clear, right? Then it makes a lot of sense that why would you need the university? Because oftentimes you're going there to learn what your passion or career is, but you're like, wait, I already figured that out. So it can make total sense that you're in this, a little bit of a conundrum which some people get into, where they're like, why go to the university touring if they're not going to go there, or maybe they don't want to go there, right? And that could be a situation where even though you could do it, if you chose to, it's just not the path right there. Whereas some people get to the situation where they're like, I want to do the university and I believe in the university, but now it's too much money. I don't even have the money to go to the university, right? So those are definitely some challenges. And then from the parent standpoint, right? You being there with your kids and them seeing what you're doing, right? There's a few things there. One, of course, they're learning, and you're so right. I say that I learned this so much now, and I say this often, is that the kids don't listen to what you say, it's what you do, right? And you see that as well from living it, right? And I just remember my mom left when I was 2. So I didn't have a mom, right? And so that was the things that come from that, from the abandonment and these kind of things, right? That people face, right? But let's say your dad, right? My dad raised us, right? And he was very present and very good, right? But when he went to work, right? He can only do so much of the raising, right? If he's at work, right? And what happens to people, whether it's your daddy or mom, when they go to work, for anyone, right? Even if you know what they do, I know what he does, right? Like kind of, you don't always know exactly what they do. You kind of know. Some people have no idea what their parents do, right? Like, let's say you kind of generally know what they do. You still don't know what they totally do, and you still have a feelings of abandonment and a feelings of confusion, a feelings of why they're not there, a feelings of question, right? Even though they come home every night, it's not drastic, it's not super traumatic, but there's a little bit of it, right? There's a little bit of what's going on, I don't know. You can't really show them what you're doing, right? Because you're not there. My dad was doing construction. He wasn't showing me how he does construction. He just did it over there and then came back. I didn't see it until I started doing construction with him. Then I learned, right? But your kids are seeing it day in and day out and constantly seeing it and absorbing it and learning it. And I feel like that makes a huge impact, right, on them and getting a chance to see it. And that's one of the blessings, that you get. It doesn't mean every single parent can do that, or every single parent, has to stay home or be with their kids all the time. But if you have the benefit of that, right, and to bring them with you, even if you could have brought me to work, right, that would have been great, right? It would have been great. He did later when I was able to work, right? And we did a lot of that stuff, and that helped. That helped so much to really understand. I get it. I know what you're going through. I understand what you're experiencing. I understand the hardship. I understand the challenges. It had a huge relatability of that, but also I could make a stronger decision. Do I want to do that? Do I not want to do that? Right? Because I was more informed. And your kids have the same way. They don't have to do this. They don't have to do with you, but they're super informed and they're well known. And then they have the strong basis where maybe I didn't have such a strong base, right? Where I was more susceptible to maybe get into negative, peer pressure, right? Maybe alcohol, or maybe some of these things that people face, in their schooling that they may fear, right? Their kids going to. Maybe they want to do a homeschool because they're like, I don't want my kids to be, to be influenced into that, right? But what you're right is you raise them so well and so strong that their values are so strong. Same thing, my values are so strong. I can drive by, now they're strong, but I can drive by a fast food and say no, right? I'm not like so influenced by it, right? We're similar with your kids. Anyways, you want to add something to that?
Yeah, you were asking me before the call. You were like, "Well, how you feel about your like kids going to school in Miami?" Of course. I mean, like with the stuff that goes on here, I couldn't even imagine. But because the base is so solid, they already know. They know what to look for. They have this level of awareness. The junk food, I mean, they know from all levels of standpoint, they are aware and they know how to make these decisions. Everything is about choices. And I allow them to see the good and bad in both choices. And it's like, well, now make your decision. Which way do you want to go? I never forced my kids into anything. This is why I needed to come from them. When it comes from you, then you don't have to worry. Because I get this a lot from a lot of parents. They're like, well, are you worried they're going to make bad decisions when you're not there? That's the whole point. That's the whole point of parenting. Is how are you going to make decisions when I'm not there? Hopefully you make them have a solid base that they can make the correct choices. So when they're out there, right, they need to become a bit better version of you so they have this level of awareness, and we're talking about education, we're talking about finding your purpose. Well, when you go to university, you have to do all these classes. You talk about the general classes. Are you really interested in all these things? Humanities, world history? I do really want to focus on that. They give you their things that they're like, you have to do. Well, why do you have to do them? Why not go straight to your passion of what you love to do? I know I never loved to be forced into doing things I didn't love. I'm like, I love math and science. Can I just do that? Why do I have to do everything else? Right? But everyone has different passions. If you're creative and you want to draw all day, why can't you do that and make a fantastic living out of it? Why can't you do exactly what you need and release your creative side?
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I think that's what we're here for is to share what's possible for those that want, this possibility, and those that are, thinking about kids and how's this going to help my kids. Like I feel like I don't know how many kids, hundreds and hundreds of kids, and some people are worried, is this healthy for my kids? Is this safe? You have the smartest, healthiest kids I've ever seen. Allison is the smartest, healthiest kids I've ever seen. Every person that I've seen, their kids are so smart, so healthy, so vibrant, and like almost seemingly light years ahead of some other kids in their age, right? And that's like you say, the proof's in the pudding or whatever. Like to me, like that's the proof is in the pudding. We could talk all day. We could show you this resort. I mean, we could show you this study and this study and this study and all the research and all the information. To me, and like that matters. But what matters most is like seeing it, and experiencing it and seeing the reality and just knowing. And that's what also gives me so much confidence, right? Confidence to refer someone, confidence to recommend, confidence to put in my body, and so much less stress, right? I was stressing about food before. A lot of people are stressing about food, especially when you start learning about our food systems. It becomes a big stressor, right? Not only do I have zero stress about our food and feel so confident, but I truly believe this food protects me when I'm not so perfect. When I consume something that's not so good for me, and I know and I'm aware, I know I'm protected because of the food that we eat, right? And I know that I have protection, right? And maybe I'll purposely eat certain foods like that protect us, like pre-meal control capsules that literally is designed to protect you from the food that you're about to eat, right? So there's certain things that are like formulated in a protection way, right, that I consume, but also that just generally are protective, right? But also you see the person with you hear the story of someone smoking cigarettes or drinking junk food and alcohol until they're living past 100, and someone likes to use a story like that, and you're like, well, look at this person, if they, they could do it. Like, well, that person has an unbelievable mindset, right? And it's so powerful. And that's the other piece to this, is the unbelievable, rock solid, like diamond mindset that you need to have, right? It's why the person can smoke cigarettes and live to 100 or whatever, right? But genetics plays a role into it too. Some people can literally, their body releases toxins faster than others, so there's some that as well, right? Good.
Can I speak about a point that you mentioned, which is so, so key with our generation that we're facing every day? Confidence. Confidence, this is something that I see day in and day out with so many children. Being part of the Instagram world, too many of them focus on the wrong things. And this causes a lack of confidence in their personality, which causes a whole cascading effect of a whole downward cycle, right? And this business gives you confidence. It releases the confidence out, right? And then that gets translated to your kids, because your kids see how you are. They become confident in themselves. You become confident. I mean, this is the ultimate self-esteem that we need to be teaching our kids forward, right? It's beyond entrepreneurship. It's beyond the things that we're just telling you today. Because once you get started, you start seeing deep, deep transformation within your own personality, your kids, your family. And it creates a beautiful dynamic.
It almost seems like the ultimate lifestyle transformation is an understatement.
Mm.
As powerful as that word is, it's almost an understatement, right? Yeah. So I appreciate you. I know we took a little bit extra time than normal, because we had some powerful stuff to really instill in kids. I'm gonna make a clip of this as well, of this part, that we can share, because I think this is important. And a lot of people are thinking, either have kids, thinking about kids, right, or want to protect their kids and have solutions for them as well, right? And oftentimes that's the why and the purpose that a lot of people have. I've seen people that are like, they don't care about anything. They have a kid, all of a sudden they care about their health, and they care about the world, and they care about, all these things, right? Sometimes it creates the purpose, right, that someone didn't have, right? So there's often that as well. I know many, you may be in that boat as well. It's like it created the purpose for you. It's like, I gotta, do what I can to save them and protect them and do my best, to be the best mom for them, right? And so yeah, that's